In Chapter 10 and Chapter 11, we are going to cover another operating asset, property, plant, and equipment, which is a composition of multiple fixed assets. In this chapter, we are going to value these assets starts from the acquisition to the disposition. For all the operating assets, we have the problem of the valuation when the firm acquires it, and also during usage, and also the valuation at the point of disposition. During the useful life of these assets, we also value these assets. This part we are going to cover in Chapter 11. In this section, I'm introducing how to value property, plant, equipment when a firm acquires it. This mostly refers to the purchase of the property, plant, and equipment. And some property, plant, equipment could be self-constructed. I will introduce how to value the self-construct asset. First, what's the definition of property, plant, and equipment? It refers to a set of assets which has durable nature. That means it has multiple years useful life or infinite useful life. We also name them as plant assets or fixed assets. There are three characteristics of property, plant, and equipment. First, it is used in operations. That's why I said it is an operating asset. The purpose to acquire property, plant, and equipment is for operating activities. In other words, is to generate revenue. It's not for resale. Resale really refers to speculation. Actually, that's an investment activity. Next is long term. So that's why we use depreciation to recognize expense. If one asset can only use for a short term, we don't need to depreciate. We just simply recognize the expense in the year when it is acquired and used. The next one is property, plant, equipment has physical substance. The asset does not possess physical substance. We call it intangible asset, which we will cover briefly in the next chapter. The first valuation problem is when the firm initially acquires the asset. Basically, we use the historical cost to measure the cash price of the asset. It not only includes the price to purchase the assets, it also increases to any other expenditures to get these assets ready for use. For example, bring the assets to the location, right? That's include the shipment costs and any insurance, title fees. The reason we use historical valuation because it is reliable. By using historical cost, the firm should not anticipate gains and losses because that's not the purpose to acquire the property, plant, and equipment. But finally, when the firm disposes the asset, the gain or losses will be recognized. But that's not the purpose. Again, to acquire property, plant, equipment, or to recognize property, plant, equipment, because these assets are not used for resale, it is used for operating activities. Next, this is a list of expenditures should be included as the value of the assets. We start from the land. So when a firm acquires land, to get this land ready for use, it should pay the purchase price, closing fee, attorney's fees, recording fees. Okay, the fees of grading, feeding, draining, and clearing. Okay, any other, fees associated with this acquisition. Without paying all the necessary expenditures, the firm will not be able to use that assets. Sometimes the firm may spend some expenditures on the land, such as driveway, sidewalk, fence, and parking lot. We will recognize the expenditures as land improvements rather than part of the costs of land, because land improvements have limited life, so we are going to depreciate. If land is acquired for speculation, that will be recognized as an investment rather than in the property, plant, and equipment. For some industry, for example real estate, the land will be recognized as inventory because their purpose is to resell the land. Next is building. If the building is purchased, similar to the cost of land, the cost of buildings should include all the expenditures related to the acquisition or constructions. If it is purchased, it should include the purchase price, closing fees, attorney's fees, and other costs associated with the acquisition to have the building ready for use. If it is constructed, the cost should include all the materials, labors, overhead incurred, and any other fees, building permits. So self-construct assets, we will have one section to talk about in detail later. Cost of equipment includes all the expenditures, not only purchase price, but any other expenditures to prepare it for use. Property, plant, equipment in general includes land, buildings, and equipment. And land is not subject to depreciation. The reason is it has infinite life.